Hey, this is Alan Huffman, and I am here at the 18th annual Last Chicago CoCoFest. It's hard to believe it was 1992 when me and a friend loaded up in a Honda Civic from Lufkin, Texas, and drove 20-something hours to get to Elgin, Illinois for the very first Chicago CoCoFest. 18 years later, we're still doing it.
Hi, I'm Tony Podraza, the host for this year's Glenside-sponsored CoCoFest. It's the 18th CoCoFest that we've been holding. About 2 weeks ago, I got an email from a gentleman out in Virginia, the Richmond area. Tim Rogers, I believe his name. Pardon? Smith. Tim Smith. Said that he'd been an avid cocoist for a number of years, and he had a friend who was in charge of a Radio Shack store, and about the time that they started to discontinue the material, his friend called him and says, "Look, I've got all this stuff, it's been sitting around. Would you be interested in it, and how much would you give?" Well, he said he would be, and they came to an agreement, and he's been holding on to it, using some of it quite avidly until about the past 4 or 5 years, and finally decided it was time to clean house. We happen to have a member who lives out in the Virginia area, Mr. Roy Justice, and I gave him a call because one of the conditions was if we were to pick it up, he would donate it free of charge, but we needed to transport it. At that time I called Roy and asked if he could do the club a huge favor, and he agreed to make contact with Tim, and at this point I'll turn the story over to Roy.
It took me a while to find the place. It was a left turn, a right turn, and then another left turn, and then a big blue house. And I get in there, and he looked at me and says, I thought you'd bring something a little bigger." But we managed to get it all in my Blazer, and I drove all the way from Richmond to Chicago with it.
And that's what we're talking about. What all's in here? Everything. And this came from a Radio Shack closeout in his personal collection?
Yes, that's right.
You got this in one Blazer? One Blazer.
Didn't have room for anything else but my converters. That's it.
Excellent.
See how that works?
Whatever, and I'll look it up to my clock. Right. I see, I got to get out my check. I just can't take the credit card. We could get on the board. Well, let me get my check. All right. Have that type of stuff. And I'm like, you know what I do in the past to make sure I have the time to do
The ROM.
Oh, cool. Do you want to look at Roger's hardware?
Hi, I'm John Linville, and I thought I'd talk a little bit about the RS-232 Bluetooth pack from Roger Taylor. It really is logically equivalent to the old deluxe RS-232 pack. Roger's added a Bluetooth serial adapter kind of effectively plugged onto the end of that, and it'll attach to a Bluetooth equipped laptop and look just like a serial port, just with no wires. You can see on the inside sort of a standard looking CoCo pack with the Bluetooth serial adapter sort of stuck on there, and it looks kind of like a modem. It's got some AT commands, and you can use it to establish connections from the CoCo side. And other than that, it's pretty transparent. Roger's got it shipping with a ROM from that's this at least it looks the same as the original RS-232 packs ROM for basic serial communications. And you know, beyond that, I think Roger intends to make it available with his CoCoNet software. And anyway, it works pretty well. I've been using it for some cross development on the CoCo using a monitor program, and I'm pleased. It's worth $65. Help Roger out.
But all the pictures will be available from John Strong, so if you'd all like to, real quickly, we'll just take 5 minutes of your time, mosey outside the door, get a group shot of everybody, and as a commemorative item of where you were this day in history. Thanks much. I'm heading out there right now. Care to follow? Let's go.
So you have the timer with a different camera.
See it?
Did that make that big flash go off?
Yeah,
yeah, they did.
It's a light trigger.
Is that one of the new Sonys?
Yeah, but it got obsoleted in January, so.
Ain't that the way it always is?
Fix. There's two things. That.
I mean, it's funny. The one is like fighting with the sadness you can go
Alan, I farm and I do, how are you doing, Jeremy? Artwork. I don't do computers.
Solid. I get $2 for it. I get $1.50. $1 going once. $1 going twice.
And if you get into the higher like over 5,000 you will get snow once or twice a year. So if you get up to about 6 or 7, we actually have to. But most of our snow is artificial. Yeah, actually where I worked at.
Do I need any extra waters? Is that HQ?
Oh, yeah.
John, did you want some water? No.